How are you?
I'm good. Thank you so much for agreeing to talk to us this morning, mate.
It's no problem. I'm glad to hear some voices aren't American for once in the last 5 months.
Well, mate, I guess I've got to start off by saying congratulations on the album, but what has the last few months been like for you guys? Because I know we're back into a second lockdown here, so what's it been like for you guys over there?
So, it's basically for me and my wife, it kind of like put a halt on all of our work, because she's a flight attendant, and so she was just put on unpaid leave. And then I'm a touring musician, so it's been a lot of time at home. It's kind of been nice because, get to spend more time with my wife, and honestly, the most time I've spent with her since we've been married for 5 years. And I don't know, it's kind of just been like, depending on the week, and I'm sure you feel this with the lockdown stuff, some weeks you feel good, and it's kind of nice to be home, and nice to have time to do things you enjoy, whether it's video games or writing music or just going for a walk. And then some weeks you're just really bummed out that you can't play any music at a show.
Yeah.
It's just kind of been that. It depends on the day.
I know that feeling only too well. From a creative point of view, how have you found it with writing music? Because I know for myself, I've been working on my comic book and working on a lot of writing that I probably wouldn't have had a chance to be able to do at this time of year otherwise. How has the working on new music been for you?
It's kind of just been, I don't know, for me it's been harder to be inspired, because so, like, outside of writing about, I don't play an instrument, so everything is lyrically involved. Outside of just being, like, sad about not playing music and locked up and not much else going on.
Yeah.
So it's almost like, because when I'm traveling the world and touring and meeting new people, I'm experiencing so many things. I'm learning new things about different cultures, and it's it's even changing my opinions on past things that I had, and it's just like constant lyrical fuel.
Yeah. Have they told you then when your lockdown might be over? Like, for us, they're saying tentatively that it'll be in 6 weeks' time, but have they been giving you a bit of a timeline there?
So I'm in Texas. We've had it a little bit looser than other states. I know Texas has seen a spike in cases. Fortunately, deaths have not been spiking. Hopefully that doesn't happen anytime soon. We've kind of locked down a little bit more. Restaurants were fully open and outdoor events, and they kind of scaled it back to 50% and all that recently, but no indoor events. You can only have, like, outdoor concerts or something, and they have to be approved by the city.
Yeah.
There's honestly not even a tentative end in sight. They just announced the kids won't be going to school in my city until October, tentatively.
Whoa.
So, yeah, so they're planning on it being, I think finally people are starting to come around to wearing a mask, and every day I see someone without one, I'm like, can you please just wear one? I want to tour again.
Yeah. So bringing it back to the album, tell us a little bit about the path. What kind of things were inspiring you when you sat down to work on the lyrics for this album?
So with the last record, we were primarily writing about sad things, dealing with anxiety, depression, just mental health stuff. And then this record, I just really wanted to write a positive record. We hadn't had one in a while. This was not a happy album. That one dealt with more some political and social stuff, while Dark Skies was, like I said, the mental health stuff. And then I wanted this record to be like about overcoming these things and not just dwelling in them. So the album was just an overwhelmingly positive record, outside of a few songs where sometimes you're just feeling a certain way about something and you just have to write about it. Songs like God of Fire and stuff. But then overall, the album is just, I just wanted to write something that was uplifting, like whoever's listening to it, it's going to encourage them to go move forward.
Yeah. It's funny because it is such an uplifting album, but there's also a bit of a heavier element there as well. Were you guys aware of that heavier metal sound coming through?
We definitely made a concentrated effort to be more metal this record, and you were sent the record, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And I don't know, you probably picked up that it's a little bit of a more metal album.
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
In some parts. Like, I've always been a huge fan of guitar solos, and we also wanted to write some songs that just sounded too big to be played in small venues. Songs that we thought that with were kind of like The Past and Annihilation, and the same with The Face of Hate. Like, that intro, you gotta have pyro.
Yep.
We're just like, let's write songs that need pyro. That's basically how we felt about it.
You guys kind of threw Daniel into the deep end there with how guitar heavy the album is. Tell us a little bit about how you approached the album with Daniel, and a little bit about Daniel himself, because for us here in Australia, it's the first introduction we've got to him.
So Daniel has been in a band. He's still in it. They just don't tour actively. I don't know if you've heard of Phineas, but they're also on Solid State Records.
Yep.
They slowed down touring because their vocalist had his first child. And we told Daniel, like, hey, Bob stopped touring. We're kind of just in between guitarists. Bob's still a part of the band, but we want a person to be with us permanently. We're not a fan of just always having a different fill-in on a tour. We want somebody that's like a part of the group. And Daniel shreds, as you've heard on the record.
Yeah.
He adds like a really cool element to the band that we didn't have before. Like, Bob is incredible with writing heavy songs and song structuring, and Dan can just shred. He has crazy talent. He even has some vocal parts on the record. And I'd say Dan's contribution this record, we wanted to make it a smooth transition. He's still learning how to write like a member of Fit for a King. Because we are 6 albums deep, there is a sound that our fans expect. So Bob still took the lead. He wrote a majority of the song structuring and guitar parts, and then we told Daniel, like, make a lead for this. We want something really metal, which isn't really in Bob's like repertoire right now. He's never been like a super metal guitarist, but then Dan like wrote a lead on our song Locked in My Head, and the solo and leads and Breaking the Mirror, the solo in The Past, the lead at the beginning of Face of Hate. So as you hear, like, he has such a influence on how metal our band can sound.
Yep. And how did you know that he was
eventually want to have him, I was going to say, and eventually want to like bring him in more and more as he learns to work with Bob.
Yeah. And how did you know he was the right guy to come into the band? Because music aside, bringing somebody into the band is like bringing somebody into the family. How did you know Dan was the right guy to fill that spot?
Daniel just really has a great personality. He's a crazy hard worker. He's really good with recording and producing, which is something we really wanted in a guitarist, because as our band tries to make our live show bigger, we want to have people that understand not just their instrument, but music production, so we can add things to our show. And on top of that, Dan is a great vocalist. And adding another great vocalist, now you have like Dan and Tuck back there. It's just like a dream team on stage in my eyes.
Definitely. And you brought Ryo from Crystal Lake on board for God of Fire as well. Tell us a little bit about how that came about, and why you selected him to be the guest on that track.
So we went to Japan for the first time ever. Crystal Lake invited us to play their True North Festival. We went out there and were just blown away with the hospitality of Crystal Lake. Probably the nicest band we've ever toured with. And then we got to tour with them. Well, we didn't even tour with them at that point. We played one festival, but just hung out with them so much. It felt like we had known them for years. And then we went and did the Dangerous tour with August Burns Red, and Crystal Lake was opening that tour. So we just bonded for 7 straight weeks, got super close, right after that tour, I told our manager and booking agent, we're doing a headliner and we're bringing Crystal Lake back. So we actually booked Crystal Lake for our headliner almost a year and a half before our tour, the Dark Skies US tour, ever happened.
Yep.
And so it just seemed natural, like we were going to do that tour with them. It was already booked, and we're in the studio, and I was like, I want Rio on one of these songs because I want him to come up and do it live with us. And then we ended up playing God of Fire on that tour, which ended up only being 5 shows long.
It is such an amazing track, and Crystal Lake they've just taken off here in Australia as well, so it was the perfect time for the track to come out as well here because of Crystal Lake's popularity starting to rise here.
Dude, but Crystal Lake's going to be one of the biggest metalcore bands in the entire industry soon. I think give it another album or two. They're already like gaining a lot of popularity worldwide, and I think this album plus another great one, which I know they can write, they're just going to be a household name worldwide.
Definitely. And I know we're running out of time, so I'll ask two quick questions. Working with Drew as producer, he's done an amazing job on this album. What's he like to work with as a producer?
Drew is probably one of my favorite people in the entire music industry. The way he works with your band, he kind of just like, it feels like he becomes a member of your band whenever you're in the studio with him. Like, he's not your producer, he's just another guy in the group. And he's just incredible at giving you the confidence to try things you normally wouldn't try. And as his name says, he's a wizard. Wizard blood. And I don't know if you saw his Instagram name. If not, that didn't make sense.
Yeah.
But he goes by Wizard Blood on all his production credits. And the guy is a wizard. And if I have the choice, we're going to work with him for the rest of our career. But he's blowing up. He's starting to work with, like, pop artists and rap artists. And hopefully he keeps working with us.
Yeah. He's absolutely amazing. I love the work that he does on various albums over the years. I guess to finish off, what would you like to say to your Australian fans out there before they go out and grab a copy of the album? And can we expect you guys to tour here sometime when the lockdown is over?
I just want to say, A, thank you so much for still caring about our band, even though we have been bad about coming to Australia. And then, B, the second touring is allowed to happen again, we're booking an Australian tour. Whether we have to headline or not, it's going to happen.
Awesome. Well, mate, thank you so much for chatting to us. It's been an absolute pleasure, and hopefully we do get to see you soon.
Hey, thank you. I hope so, too.
Awesome, mate. All right, you have a great day and stay safe.
You too.
Bye.